The numbers you see in your bank account aren't sitting piled up in a vault somewhere, as most people imagine. If everyone suddenly rushed to their bank tomorrow morning to withdraw their money in cash, the system would collapse in hours. Because that money isn't collectively waiting there. This isn't a flaw. On the contrary, it's a deliberate design of the global financial system. This mechanism, operating for centuries, has become so normalized that we're barely aware of it. Its name is fractional reserve banking. It's the primary source of debts, inflation, and that, wealth on paper. When you understand how the system works, you realize one thing: money is largely built on promises made to the future. To grasp its origins, we need to go back to the era before digital accounts. In medieval Europe, wealth was measured in gold and silver. The rich kept these metals in chests. But carrying them around constantly was risky. So people began depositing their gold with trustworthy goldsmiths. In return, they received receipts promising they could reclaim it any time. Over time, these receipts became a means of payment in themselves. Shopping with paper was far more practical than hauling gold around. That's where the real turning point happened. The goldsmiths noticed something: most customers didn't withdraw their gold at the same time. Daily demands were limited. Much of the gold in the vault just sat idle. They seized the opportunity. If they had 1,000 units of gold on hand, they issued 2,000 units worth of receipts. They lent out the excess at interest, profiting from value that didn't actually exist. As long as everyone didn't show up at once, no one noticed. Thus, money broke free from physical limits and began to multiply. This wasn't just clever opportunism, it was an innovation that fundamentally transformed the economy. Banks later took over this system and institutionalized it. By the 17th century, governments got involved too. The Bank of England was established in 1694, not for the people's welfare, but to finance the heavy debt burden of a kingdom constantly at war. The bank created money far beyond its reserves and lent it to the state at interest. Repayments came from taxes collected from the public. The same logic still operates today. The United States followed a similar path. Early banks issued notes backed by gold. But soon, the notes in circulation exceeded the gold stock. Panics occurred: when people demanded their money, banks couldn't pay, and many collapsed. Instead of fixing the root problem, they made the system more centralized. Central banks were created. Their main task: to maintain people's confidence in money. Actual reserves were pushed to the background. Today, the system has become completely abstract. You deposit $100 in a bank. You think it's all sitting there, but the bank keeps only a small portion and lends out the rest as credit. That credit becomes a deposit in another account, and the process repeats. Your initial $100 multiplies into a massive money supply within the system. But most of it isn't real cash, it's just debt records. In the US, the required reserve ratio is now close to zero. What limits banks isn't cash anymore, but capital and liquidity rules. These are set by international standards, like the Basel Accords. In modern banking, the process has reversed: credit is issued first, then deposits are created. In other words, money is born from debt. Most of the money in circulation isn't printed by the government, it's digital records created by banks. This structure produces three main outcomes: persistent inflation, money keeps multiplying. Endless debt, the system can't function without it. Concentration of power, those who create money gain control through interest. Major crises throughout history have proven this time and again. When trust falters, everything collapses. But each time, the same solution: the system is bailed out, losses are socialized, and the game continues. So why should you care? Because in this system, money isn't real wealth. True value lies in things that remain meaningful outside this cycle: land, skills, limited resources like gold. Debt isn't neutral. Inflation isn't an accident, it's an inevitable result of the system. Your purchasing power quietly erodes while debts compound. Without understanding this structure, it's impossible to truly be free within it. From medieval goldsmiths to today's financial crises, the story is the same. And it hasn't ended yet.